Hello everyone. Okay, I have my other device keyed up so that I can see comments, and I'm just gonna wait a few seconds here. So go ahead, say hello as you come on in. I'm going to release some patterns tonight at my sale, and my sale is going to be at 7:45 tonight. But we have a full event tonight starting at 6:45. We're going to get sisters on board: Barb Jones, Terry Caines, Linda O'Connell, me, Colleen, and then Nina Daniels. That's who's up tonight. But I'm going to release this pattern here, and I have 4 of them that I have done. This one here, and then this one is one of the other ones. And this is what I'm going to demo tonight. I'm going to demo the trees so that you can see how I did the trees. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put you down like this, and I'm going to switch you real quick here. So I'm going to switch you like this, and then I'm just going to wait until my second device catches up, and we can see if I'm close enough. I'm going to turn on my overhead light, and it looks like that's good. I think you can see I can't get down much further. Get the cord out of there. Okay, so I know this one here, I did these trees with a stencil, so I'm going to start with those. And this is what the patterns will look like when you get them. And then it just tells you everything, step by steps, what I did. Okay, so that would be the patterns there. Okay, so I bought some stencils from Amazon, and they're just trees. You can use whatever stencils you want. You're going to get the line drawing for the trees, so you can just line draw them in too and paint them. The stencils that I used, and just look on Amazon for pine trees. They're inexpensive, or any pine tree from anybody that has stencils is good. So I'm going to check my comments here. Hi Cheryl, hi Bonnie, hi Sharon, hi Bev, hi Iris, Christy, how are you? Hi Barb, how are you? Hi Kim, hi Judy. Okay, so I'm going to start, and I'm going to kind of look at the picture and see how I did these. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what kind of order they're in or anything. So I did these big ones in white, and I just stenciled them in there. So I'm going to get some white paint out. Hi Chris, how are you? Happy Saturday. It's been a good day today so far here. Okay. So I'm just gonna, they don't have to be perfect in there. They're background trees, so however you want to stencil is fine. If you want to just paint them in, it's fine too. And I do the trunks also in the white, and I'll just paint over that. And that way it helps too, because you know, black is hard to cover. But the black is used for the shading of the snow and everything else. So it makes it a little bit easier. But then I'll also show you the trees that I tap in on another round. Now this one here I painted on a 10 foot or 10 inch, not foot, it's a wall mural, a 10-inch square. This is a 10-inch round. You can enlarge the pattern, you can use it, you can make a door hanger out of it, you can use a 14-inch square, a 15-inch circle, you can put it on whatever you want. And I mean, you can enlarge or reduce the line drawing however you want to. So that's good there. And then I did another one of those over here a bit. I have some like piece of fuzz there. I don't know where that came from. Okay, then I just did, and it doesn't, you don't have to measure perfectly because we're going to put snow in there. Snow, and then the figures are in front of it too. So just make it light and whimsical and, you know, have fun with it. Stenciling is easy to do. It's easy to achieve something you want to achieve, and they don't have to be in any order or anything. I'm kind of making it the same way as I made the pattern, but you can change it up. I just want to show you what I did so you have some idea, because sometimes the instructions are hard to follow, hard to understand, and you know, our words are different. So and what made me, I'm doing series of things. Like I did 3 or 4 different Fisher people. I did 3 or 4 different sledders. What else did I do? I just did some Santa ones, and they're all winter ones that I did. And the reason why I did it, how I came up with this idea, is I grew up in a family of 8 children. We had some money, but not a lot, you know, with 8 kids. My mother was a stay-at-home mom, and my dad worked, and we ate a lot of fish. We did a lot of stuff outside. We did a lot of tobogganing. We did a lot of ice fishing. I'm in Minnesota, so you can imagine what it's like to live in Minnesota. I'm going to cover this one up a little bit because that's why I did it on a square. Okay, so I'm going to do this one in, I'm going to pick a green. I got like foliage green, avocado toast, medium dark Hauser. It doesn't matter which color you put on which tree, because we're going to put all different greens up there. So I'm going to put this here, and that's a foliage. Well, we spent a lot of time outside doing things too. I never had to look for a playmate. I always had a playmate. I always had, hi Lorraine, I always had a brother or a sister that I could play with. And I'm the 5th child, but what's funny is my mom and dad had 4 kids. Some of those kids of the older 4 are, don't ask me how it's possible, but 11 months apart. And then there's my older sister, and there's almost 6 years in between us. So then the 4 younger ones, which I'm the oldest of the 4 younger set, okay, I'm the oldest of the 4 younger ones, and you know, we are all 2 years apart. So, you know, 10, 11 years old, I had older brothers and sisters that got cars and had license and could bring us places. So that took some of the pressure off mom and dad and stuff. But we did do a lot of outdoor activities. And at one time, it used to snow so much in Minnesota that on the boulevards, we had tunnels dug in the snowbanks and had little forts. And, you know, we just did all kinds of stuff growing up. Much more than kids nowadays do. So, I'm going to put this one here. It's a little, because it's on a round, it's a little bit different than the, okay, medium house green. It's a little bit different than how the pattern is set up, but, you know, we can adapt to different surfaces too. But anyhow, I started getting reminded of what I did when I was younger, what my family did, what me and my siblings did. You know, we sledded, we fished. I remember my dad taking me ice fishing, and it was just him and I, and it was so cold, and he didn't have, he got a portable ice house later after we had gone. All of us kids pitched in and got him one for Christmas. But he had got, he brought his car out on the lake, and we were fishing, and he's like, "Are you cold, honey?" And I said, "Yeah." So he went and started the car, and he told me, "Get in the car and warm up." And I mean, I just remembered everything we did growing up, and it was just, so I thought I'd paint some of it. Okay, I don't think I did but one of those. I can put one of those here too. It'll look different than my original, but you can make it your own, you know. I'm going to try and go a little faster. I'm not going to do too much on these as far as details, because I want to get the snow in, and then I want to show you how I did my tap trees. And I only signed up for a half hour, but I think I will go till I get those done. There's no one after me. The next person on the sales doesn't start until 6:45. So I'd like to show you at least these things that I did in case you buy a pattern, you're not lost when you get it. Okay, there. And I did this one too here, and I'm gonna go back to foliage on that one. And I'm just using the same brush. I know you're supposed to go lighter to darker, but I'm gonna see if I can get, yeah, most of the colors out, so it should be good. And any stencil brush will work. I mean, I have Lori stencil brushes. I have the Dynasty brushes. I have No Name stencil brushes. Just get a stencil brush and get some tree stencils and just tap them in as quickly as you can. And there, okay? So now, the stencil brushes that are the stencils that I got, they're from Amazon. All you gotta do is key in pine stencil brushes. It comes with quite a few trees and they're very inexpensive. I want to wrap this up in a paper towel or wet wipe because I might use it again and I don't want it to dry out. Okay, so we got those in. And what you can do, you can take an angle brush and you can, and I did do this on the pattern. I'll just do this big one here so you get kind of what I mean. And it's no rocket science in doing it. If you know how to float, you can do it and figure it out. And most of the girls in the group here are good painters. So I just went like along the bottom and I just kind of just put it on there. Not much, but I just put it on the bottom. And you can take as much time with these as you want or as little time. But this is what I did. And it's just a little bit. I mean, I'm doing this with plantation pine, and that is such a transparent color. It's a good shading color that just tap it on there. It's I mean, you could, if you wanted to, you could do some lighter on the top. You can take your stencil brush and you can stencil some snow, pounce some snow on there. You can just do whatever you want there. And I'm not doing it perfect right now because I'm on limited time. So I'm usually a much slower painter than this. So the bottom is done. And this tree I did with I think I did it with, let's see, we'll find out. I think I did it with foliage green. Well, in I did a Santa Claus series too, and those are turning out really cute. It's Santa, I did it with, the first one I did was Santa with a reindeer. And then I just started doing like, what else could Santa do? He could go sledding. Okay, he could sled, and then he could sled with Mrs. Claus. Then he could fish, and he could fish with Mrs. Claus. That's how I came up with all the ideas. And what I did this time is I wrote them down. When I had the idea, I wrote them down, because I made a New Year's resolution that I was going to, so you might want to go to the plantation pine. And it's just little bits. It's just wispy, it's a lot of water. Just drop the color on there. And you don't have to have the shape of the tree perfect, because you're only shading a little bit. And if you notice how I'm moving my brush, this is not the way I usually shade, but for this, it works very well, because it keeps the shape of the tree and it shades it. And you can shade some green on here. You can brush some stuff, but that's it for the trees that I'm going to do on this one, okay? Because I want to get to the tap-in trees, and I want to show you how I did the snow here. But I am going to put in the barks, and I'll show you how I did that. And it was just with like espresso. That's my go-to color is espresso. I like it. It is appealing to my eye. If you want to use burr number, that's fine. If you want to use dark burr number, if there's another brown you like, you know, you can use what you like. And this is probably too small of a liner, but I just basted in. And then I did, you know, I'll grab a little white, and I'd put white on the one side, and just, you know, just try to make it look like a tree trunk, and nothing real special or anything like that. And it's not, I have texture in my painting. My painting is not perfectly flat. Some stuff is, some stuff isn't. Here's a better liner brush. That's a little bigger. And on this one here, what I did, I brought the trunk, I did like this, because that's what you can see the trunk on this one. And that's just, I just did it like this and painted right over there. Doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be, yeah, you can see the bark through the branches there. And you can go back over that with the white, or you can put a tan in there, whatever. I used white, and I used, I think, fawn. The colors I used, I put in the pattern. But this is just you and I doing this now, so you can do it the way you can make it easy, you know what I mean? That's too much white, Colleen. I got too much paint on too much white paint. But you can fix it. You can come back and put the brown on it. But you know, that might even be, well, not the top part, but a lot of it's covered. So just do some fun trees, and you know, okay. So that's how I did the trunks. And then what I did is I took a stencil brush, and I picked up gray. I used grays in it and other colors too. And I just started going like this. And I figure these guys are going to be sitting here. So the fishing hole is going to be around here somewhere. And I just went like this. And all these will be painted when you do yours. So then what I did also is I took my stencil brush and I went like this. And I made it so there was snow in the woods. You know, that the snow was piled up in the woods here. And see how it covers the bottoms of the trees and stuff, and you can swirl it, and you can play with it. If you get too much white, you can pick up that gray and put gray in there. And that's how I did the trees. And here it is completed. So you can see how I did that. This is quite a bit bigger than this is. This is smaller, but I'm going to use the same size patterns on here. It'll just be bigger on there. But that's what I did. And then once I got the pattern drawn on with these guys, I did the hole first. And I did that with gray sky or slate gray. It's in the pattern. And then I shaded, and then I dry brushed the Whispering Turquoise, which I put on his scarf there to make it look like water, and then I put the bobber in there. Okay, so that's how I did those trees. And there's not much to it, especially if you get a stencil. If you don't get a stencil, like I said, the line drawings are there of the trees, okay? So just make them your own. Okay, so then the next thing, let's see if I have any comments. Hi, Linda. The pill pocket you recommend. Oh, well, good, Barb. Hi, Sandra. How are you? Good. I'm glad. I'm telling you, my little pooch, he would not take a pill for nothing. And they worked wonderful. And the chicken was where it was at. He liked the chicken ones. Okay, so this is the second one. And this is around also. There is a few. There's a knot in this one. And I did not. We'll do this side. It's not as bad. Okay. So on this one, how I did these trees is it's how I did them, okay? And it's easy, and you'd be surprised how easy these are. Okay, so I take a clear ruler, and this is a chalk pencil. This one here is a Soul Line. That is from Amazon too. I do have the Fons and Porter, but the tip of it broke off, so my lead don't stay out. And they don't sell these anymore. Occasionally, you can find them on Amazon. But since they don't have, I don't have access to them. Okay, so I'm just going to draw a line down. And then I just go like this. So okay. So that's my tree. So that's a tree. That's the sides, and that's the middle. So it's not going to be that size when it's done, but it's a guide for me. So then I'm going to draw one over here. You watch when I do it, it'll be wider, and it's just the way it turns out. But it's a guide. So, and for the trees, you do the trees how you want to paint them, how you know how to paint them, or you can try this way, okay? So they're just easy for me to do this way, and that's why I do them this way. And there's many trees. So what I usually do is, like, I did this tree, and this tree first. And then I added the little ones behind and stuff. And we'll do these 2 trees, and then I'll show you how I put one back there. And this is just, I mean, this is a plaid brush. I don't know. It's got to be 25 years old. But it's a flat. It's a 10 flat. And that's what I use. And the reason I use this one is because it's bad. And I even smash it down to make it fluffier and stuff. And I don't want any water in this brush to start out with. And I want to use white paint. And you can make some green ones. I usually just do the white trees for the winter, especially if it's, you know, a scene like this. So I got paint in my brush, and I'm going to come in, and I'm just going to, don't do that. I'm just going to put the top part of the tree in, okay? That's the start of the tree. And then I'm going to just go, I'm just tapping it. And do you see I'm doing half of the tree, and I started out way too wide already. See, it's a guide is what it is, but it's just tapping it in. Oh, then we'll come over to this side, and we'll tap too, and I kind of overlap in the middle, so it's not, my line work is not guiding me today at all. Okay, I gotta concentrate, ladies, otherwise it's hard to paint things flat too. It's nice if you can hold it up. And the thing is you want to make the tree so that the next branch down is a little wider. And you don't want to come straight across like I did with that one. You kind of want to tap it in there so that it's a mess. You know, it's a mess. You can't really see what is going on with the tree itself in the middle and stuff, because they're not perfect trees, but it's got to give you the illusion that it's a tree. Some people use a fan brush to do it. I mean, there's nothing wrong with any way you want to do a tree, but this is the way I did them for my pattern series. And I just wanted to show you. So in case you wanted to try it, and you know, it might be worth it to just try some trees on a piece of paper and just see how you can do with them. And once again, you know, the figures are going to be in front of it. There's going to be snow. There's going to be all kinds of stuff going on here that will take away from the distraction of the tree that is not perfect, because they're not. But it is, and like I pushed down a little too hard and stuff, and try and keep the paint out of the brush. Dry your paint out of your brush when you're doing it. That helps too. And it's better if it's at an angle instead of straight up and down. It gives it a different look. But let's just fill this in here like this. And then we'll do this next one. It's kind of lopsided and stuff, but we'll get that looking pretty. We'll pretty it up. We'll go back and you can mess around with them a little bit. This brush is really, really getting tattered. So in the top part, doing that, and then we'll come like this. And you can use a bigger brush, you can use a smaller brush, whatever you feel comfortable with. And see, now this tree is going to start hitting up with the other tree. And this tree's in front, so I'm just going to go like that to make it blend in. And don't worry so much about the middle of the tree until you get the sides in. And you can go across. I mean, I've done it that way too, but you get better because you can concentrate on where those branches are ending, because you want it to be kind of a step, you know. Okay. So we'll just kind of go all around in there just to fill it in. And once you get the hang of them, they go pretty fast. Okay, so now to put a tree back here, okay? I think what I did wrong here is it's not stepped enough. Okay, that looks a little better. And when it dries, it kind of gives it a gray, it gives it a cold look. So on this one, I'm not even gonna use a pattern, because this one's off in the distance. And it's just between these two trees, taking up space, and it's off in the distance. So okay, and you can shade there if you want to. I don't do that very often. But then how I did the snow is I took my stencil brush again, and you know, I'll get all the trees in there, you know, through the whole thing. And the hill's going to start here. So I'm just putting in the hill like this. I know it doesn't look the same because there's trees missing. And I don't really paint it. I just go like this. You know, there is a lot of paint on some parts of the hill and not as much on others. So you can get the sled and stuff drawn in the line drawing for the sled, and then afterwards, after I get the sled all painted and everything, Then I take the same thing and I work paint up over the the sled thing here, the ski parts. I put a little shadow there to look like it had gone through the snow. And once other trees get in here and that sled gets on here, the trees are just in the background. But that's how I did the trees, how easy they are to do. And then I wanted to show you what else I did too. Along the tree line, if you notice, I did do soft black around the whole outside of the thing, but I did it here. I didn't do it on the snow here. I did it along the trees. And I did it with soft black. I'll show you how I did that. And then I can get off because I'm over my time. And I don't want to... I was an add-in at the last second. And my grandson... if any of you have state hockey tournaments, my grandson's high school state hockey tournament was this last week. So we were busy going to that every night, and I didn't know if they did lose out. So they took second place in their section. And if they would have won the other night, they would have been at the state tournament. And I believe the state tournament starts tonight. I'm not sure for the boys' high school. And then what you can do too is come in and take the white and put white up there so it looks like, you know, snow. You can just add it in, and you know, if you look at snow, it is all different layers and stuff. But that's what I did for those trees. On the two pieces, I have 4 patterns written, and I wanted to show you the trees is what I wanted to show you. I'm going to flip the camera around so I can look at you. But it will give you some idea of how I did some the trees. And I don't know if Lori has any tree stencils. I don't think she does. But you can check her site to see if she's got any pine trees, and I'm sure you could use those. These, I didn't print that one out. Those, these are just the tap-in trees, so you know how those are going to be done. Amazon was a cheap place for me to get the stencils. That's why I got them, and I got them in a couple days. It took like a day or 2 to get them. But that was my demo for today. Remember to come back tonight. And, well, thank you, Bonnie. Hi, Roxanne. Hi, Cheryl. Hi, Carol. Good, I'm glad you liked it. Remember, at 6:45 tonight, we have Sisters on Board. And then Barb Jones, Terry Caines, Linda O'Connell, me at 7:45, and then Nita Daniels after me. I got 15 minutes. I have 4 patterns. 15 minutes is probably too much time, but we can talk a little bit and stuff. You're welcome, everybody, and thank you. I appreciate you coming in and watching my demo, and I wanted to let you know that I'm going to do a giveaway also tonight. I probably will pull the name on Monday, so I'll do a drawing of the names that are in the group. What I'm going to give for my giveaway. This is a little photo holder that is a smiley face on one side, and then on the other side is a little bee. So if somebody has a desk they'd like to put their sweetheart in, picture in, your grandkids could fit in there. And one side would, if you felt like you needed a smile to look at all day, you could just flip it around. Or if you want to be happy. So that's going to be my giveaway. And I will draw the name on Monday. And I will notify who won. Even if I have your address and stuff, I'll notify who won so everyone knows. So they can watch for their gift. But okay, thank you everyone. Make sure you tune back in. You got an hour. Maybe grab something to eat. Thank you, Bev. Oh, thank you. Okay, well, thank you everyone, and we'll see you tonight. Bye-bye now.